Ladies and gentlemen, the war report in Gaza, it is showing signs, come to an end after a shocking development from the general. President Donald Trump. In a surprise statement, Mr. Trump revealed that he presented a relevant strategic map to Gaza, and this map then clearly shows the Israeli withdrawal line, with the limit being a yellow line and defined 6.5 kilometers south of Gaza Strip, 2.5 kilometers from the regional center and 0.5 kilometers from the north. And according to Mr. Trump, well, he personally sent this map to show Hamas, and the surprise is that Hamas side immediately agreed to the plan. In return for Israel, after the yellow line, Hamas withdrew its troops, pledged to implement the complete ceasefire. An unprecedented agreement in the context of the conflict. Tension has been building for months. Through it all, it has shown, gradually appeared, and its author is Mr. Trump. When tension subsides, it not only shows in the commitment of the parties that it also confirmed by internal military sources. Israeli team. The Hazard News reported that the Israel Defense Forces prepared to dissolve the application. The reserve simultaneously transferred the entire main force, quasi defensive and control. That means the attack campaigns will be correct. Stop. The Israeli soldiers who has been holding a gun all this time, waiting for the moment, be returned home. End the days of living between the boundary of life and death with force. Hamas and the world still surprised by the signal. De-escalation of hostilities in Gaza, in the land that has had too much love. This pain, then the water. The flag quietly from President Trump is reshaping the entire Chinese chessboard again. A tweet published by Mr. Trump mentioned to the protests in Israel with the message, it's now or never. Now or never. Now, like an urgent call from the people. This is a direct rebuttal. Facing propaganda from the far right, Israel is accusing Mr. Trump of betraying the nation. In response, the Israeli government immediately sent Mr. Ron Dermer, one of Prime Minister Netanyahu's closest representatives, to Cairo. Dermer is the one who used to Tenavit representative in most situations. Major crisis. And in the opposite direction, the side America has thrown on the table. Two-card negotiation. That's the expert negotiator Steve Whitcomb and advisor Jared Kushner. Mr. Whitcomb is a thick-skinned man, advice experienced in negotiating hundreds real estate industry deals, movables, and now the person responsible for the direct settlement. Continue with representatives of Middle Eastern countries, but people keep the key role. Mr. Kushner is the person in charge of the whole post-war planning without participation in the war. Kushner clause-by-clause discussion only care about one thing. That is, every agreement must run smoothly after, but the gunfire stopped, and the shocking, more than anything else, is the information from an article new of a journalist, a famous defense analyst, Amos Heron, an Israeli, asserted. Is there really a massacre happened at the border? Access and control. That could be the last straw. Threatens the entire deal on the table. Both Hamas and Israel agreed to President Trump's plan. Hamas. Then all hostages will be released and Israel will withdraw from Gaza. Then the stability. This fragile still relies entirely on one's personal political will. It is Mr. Trump, if he change strategy, if Netanyahu backfires, or if third parties such as Qatar or Saudi Arabia chen foot, right time, point, then the whole thing satisfied. Historically, it may disappear like sea foam between Middle East political desert. And there is a strange and contradictory development. Contradiction that we must also mention. Come to you a development in progress. Ceasefire negotiations in Gaza. Revealed by journalist Amos Heron that it was the whole Hamas thing and Israel itself are all falling into a situation that no one dares to break. Two enemies who were never the same. Sky team now competes to send signals, cooperate just to avoid being blamed. Is the side that causes the collapse. Collapse of the deal by Mr. Trump, proposed and specifically headed each when. But when Mr. Trump made a statement, we saw is immediately one side responded in unison when he said, Israel must stop the Gaza war. Hamas immediately responded that it is encouraging, and when he declared that Hamas must release all, both the hostage and the Israeli prime minister, also replied that it was. That's very. It seems encouraging that each statement of Mr. Trump, it all becomes a major test of reflexes. Forced both sides to show compliance so as not to be seen as the cause of broken deal. As for me, then Mr. Trump showed a bit of cleverness when, but avoid any public protest from Hamas and Israel, ladies and gentlemen, he does not. To let the Western media focus on the unfair, deeply contradictory, and actively created a favorable atmosphere where each side have reasons to save face. Typically, when Hamas expresses concerns about a Palestinian government, the future will be influenced by Hamas if it continues to control Gaza. Mr. Trump does not argue or criticize, but completely silent even when that Hamas accepted to hand over control of Gaza for a Palestinian committee, independent, but still a reserve in the matter. Trump also did not object to the disarmament issue. His strategic response was clearly to brush aside those sensitive terms aside, prioritize creating a peaceful image and progress despite the major bombs smoldering behind the negotiating table. A diplomatic turning point, it is taking place right in the middle. During the battle at Gaza, it shows no signs of cooling down. President Trump has changed the whole situation. After a remarkable call with Prime Minister Netanyahu, according to revelations from journalist Barak Ravid, before this call took place, the group, Trump's advisor said Iran wants to exchange more on the terms and conditions, ceasefire plan, however. But at the end of the call, Mr. Trump declared first. The press said that AI said Netanyahu was against. No, he really agrees. He had no choice but to agree. Mr. Trump also shared more with journalist Barak Ravid. That Netanyahu can't face with me. I talked to. He agree, and this statement shows clear, proactive diplomatic strategy from Washington in shaping the end of the war in Gaza. The deal that the US proposed included the following terms. The key is that Hamas must release all Israeli hostages. Withdrawal according to the route and process. Disarmament. It was deployed in an international framework of control. Control and all are aimed at setting up a sustainable and forward-looking security platform to long-term stability in the Gaza Strip. However, while that the plan is progressing diplomatically, the internal situation in Israel, it again appeared multi-dimensional reactions. Some members of the right wing in the cabinet has announced that he may withdraw from the government if, as the ceasefire continues. Okay, deployment of Minister of National Security Itamar Ben-Gvir. Then Ra warned that if he holds a ceasefire, he will not be able to continue. Stay right. Government and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich also expressed dissent if the plan to end the war came to an end, which it does not pass through the additional security mechanism for the West. And the very context that makes the political situation in Israel are becoming extremely sensitive at the same time. That is, the relatives of the lie hostages are actively campaigning for the cause. End the war in the meantime. A part of the masses then support continuing the two streams military campaign. Opposing opinions emerge side by side, and it creates a social environment full of pressure and needs strategic balance from leaders. For his part, Mr. Netanyahu has emphasized that the ceasefire agreement is an opportunity to realize the goals, important as the solution, rescue the hostage and destroy Hamas military power, and holds a strategic role in Gaza. He also stated that if the disarmament efforts are not achievable through agreement, then Israel will have to continue the necessary military measures. That's also a threat, ladies and gentlemen. And now, we see that on the chessboard, the situation In Gaza, it entered a phase, key, when all forces go to war, are pushed to the limit, and the major countries are gradually taking shape. Strategic role again. Now look at saying Hamas. First of all, we need to see clearly the position. Their school they do not initiate conflict. The coup ended with the prisoner of Azkaban being executed. Deeper than the reaction to injustice. Long that Palestinians have to face as well as repression from extremist groups and lack of political rights. Civil administration. However, both Hamas and Israel are all facing harsh realities. Initial commitments that have not yet been fulfilled. Hamas declared the action movement for the future of Palestine, but the living conditions and basic rights, it still does not improved on the Israeli side. Although it declared that it would take back all of Gaza, but not yet achieve complete military objectives, and in the context, that's a win-win. Facing internal pressure, Hamas has to accept it. Pressure from countries. Arab in the region and Mr. Netanyahu is under pressure. Severe political pressure from far-right elements in the ruling coalition. And the point to note is the role of Mr. Trump is gradually becoming prominent in the related diplomatic efforts to the war. There is much information showing. Is he actively promoting? Promoting the peace process is not only for the benefit of regional stability, but also aims to shaping the role of the United States in China issues. Some international news sources, the fact that he could be one of those candidate for the Nobel Peace Prize, especially after the declaration contributed to ending the conflict. Gazan. Notably, Prime Minister Netanyahu, that are under pressure from international organizations that have sent official letters. Nominate Mr. Trump for this award. In that picture, America is like me. Said they sent people close to them. Mr. Trump as Mr. Kushner and Mr. Whitlock to Cairo to speed up the process. Ceasefire negotiations. This move shows strong determination. Strong to avoid the main factors. In the area, it distorts the agreement and the American delegation, then they played the role. Coordination of logistical elements monitoring the structure. Negotiate and ensure that the agreements are. It is carried out at the highest speed. Egypt, we know, is the country that was once occupied by Israel. Find a way to get out of the loop. Negotiate in advance. Now back strong on the Cairo stage. Kai Conference on June 6th. 10th anniversary of victory in war. October it Mang. Deep symbolic meaning, and it affirms. Define their role as an intermediary. Trusted and influential in Israel. Then internal challenges continue. Minister of National Security Ben-Gvir has declared that he will not return to government if that Mr. Netanyahu choose the ceasefire option as he said. Finance Minister Smotrich. Then the public criticized the decision to talk and will also warn. Announced that it would withdraw from the ruling coalition if war broke out. And Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition facing the risk of collapse when the factions opposing each other, they simultaneously took to the streets to protest, with conflicting claims on the other side. Then the request. Release the hostage and stop the war. The other side wants to continue. War in general. Is it as messy as chive soup? And the situation in China? Winter is very fragile now. Diplomatic moves every major shift. It can all change the whole situation now. The intermediary role, strategic stability and decisive choices. Predictions are shaping the future of this entire region. Mr. Netanyahu then declared that the agreement was US-led, pushing it would bring great security benefits to Israel, including the dismantling of Hamas, rescue the hostages and maintain a presence in some areas, strategic areas in Gaza. He asserted that if the weapons were not taken away through negotiate, then they will be seized. Hold by military means. However, the situation internally, it made him fall into the dilemma is not easy, especially under growing pressure from far-right political groups. And we see that both Hamas and Israel, they are facing pressure from many sides, including Hamas. Then faced with demands for restraint from other countries. Arab and internal Israel is in turmoil. And the center of the current effort, it is back. about Mr. Trump, and the negotiation rounds are being accelerated. Trump's intervention is strategic and clearly demonstrate Washington's goals in ending hostilities and moving to a primary stabilization phase. Economic stability in Gaza. Egypt is also increasingly having a strong voice, stronger in the issue of Israeli withdrawal. When Israel proposed to maintain presence to prevent cross-border smuggling, then it raises questions about the commitment to respect sovereignty and union, international regulations in the event of Israeli forces, and America is present at. Then AI will have a greater position at the negotiating table. Economically, if peace set up, then AI, they will step in. A new recovery cycle from the Bible, Suez Canal to the tourism industry, from agriculture to industry. All indicators show positive prospects. Poll and inauguration event. Museum. Great Egypt is also a clear symbol for the stage. Post-war period. The part that AI will go with the proactive and leading role. In the context of the risk of conflict between Israel and AI has not been completely eliminated, then one. The big surprise is that China is pushing harder. Invest in the strategic economic zone. Well, the name is Ain Shakta, not just one. 24 factories are under development, all at once. It is not an act. This is not random action, ladies and gentlemen, but the result of an underground geo-economic agreement with European countries. Europe and observers comment that if there is no commitment to Europe will import products from these manufacturing facilities, then China will have no reason to pour billions of dollars into a region as volatile as the Eastern Mediterranean, and it proves to be a profitable network. It is taking shape with AI at its heart. Economic growth, it polls, following the opportunity to modernize the military. Team with the believers, signs indicating the risk of military collision in the area. In the AI area, they have raised the alert level to combat readiness. Fight and start activating shopping plans. Weapons are suspending deals as war. Rafale fighter with partial production conditions. Chinese submarines or Swedish early warning aircraft are both priority appraisal, and this is a step. Going strategic not only helps the army upgrade combat capability, but also contributes to increasing strengthened deterrence. The military is more proactive in standard work. It also demonstrates strategic foresight of the national security system. Early warning status has been activated, and that shows a military background, not just defense, but also ready to adapt in any situation. In October, this country is not just celebrate the resounding victory in history, October War, which they continued. Send out a strong message, strong in strength and national spirit. Egyptian nationalism is growing. Then, Ministry of Defense, they have also published strategic documents on the year 197 Ba and emphasized into courage and the unshakable faith of the whole. It is clear that the Egyptian people are also trying to rise up. At the time, the current AI point is not only a place to organize negotiations within the framework of the peace plan led by Mr. Trump, but also plays the role of coordinator after another deal. And the fact that the Palestinian police force trained at AI access it not only enhances professionalism, but also build trust with the people of Gaza. And is the important conditions for maintaining sustainable peace. On the table, geopolitical flag. Egypt is also holding the rare initiative with Queen. Tacit consent from China. Tacit consent from Europe. Close coordination with the US and the increasingly clear military role. Then they are transforming from one hotspots into a stable center. Coordinate and reshape the future of Middle East. We will see, in the coming time, they will be the dominant power. The fate of many countries in the Middle East. And according to a veteran journalist named Zvi Baron, one of the pens, head to the Middle East in Israel, if a ceasefire agreement between the two sides is signed. And going into that successful implementation, the step next is Israel, forced to restart the normalization process, normalization of relations with Saudi Arabia. And that is the point, to be able to reshape this entire area. In the context of Saudi Arabia, they sign a defense agreement with Pakistan. And Lai is strengthening strategic ties with potential countries, large military force, Riyadh's ability, reach a defense agreement even about nuclear. With the US it is becoming clearer, always special, especially when we saw just now that America was still standing there to protect Qatar. But Saudi Arabia is even worse, is a closer ally of the United States. Potential terms in such an agreement. It can cover, including sharing of nuclear energy technology, civil, and pave the way for the construction of the nuclear program. Has dual-use elements in the long term too, and if that happens, then the thing. Saudi Arabia normalizes relations with Israel. It will become the key to open a Middle East with many countries have nuclear potential, whether civilian or dual use, or military, and consequently the balance of power at here it will change deeply, and neighboring countries will have to adjust the entire strategy to cope. However, all plans. The above geostrategic aspects of the AI economic recovery. Reset the alliance, Arab America until peace agreement, normalization of Israel. It is all being threatened by. A much bigger variable is Iran. Recent US military moves in China. East, including increased naval presence deployed. Defense system and add more combat units. Fight in the area. It raises concerns of observers of a war. Large-scale military confrontation with Tehran. This story cannot be said. Is it possible? We know that the US attacked nuclear facilities. Iran, and that was the starting point. Head for the enemy, that is definitely Iran. Will have to pay another clash in the region between the United States and Iran. It will probably happen soon. Some analysis suppose that the ceasefire negotiations were not only aimed at bringing peace and stability to Gaza, but also to clean road for larger campaigns of the United States will most likely be including a preemptive strike or counterattack. Strong response in the coming time with Iran. More because we know Iran. They still have not given up their nuclear program. They still have 400 kilograms of uranium left, are hidden somewhere, and the nuclear plants and the at their nuclear facility is continuing. Be restarted. Satellite images show a lot of things. Nuclear facility that was attacked now. Now, there is a remodeling activity going on. And in the long run, that is the real problem. Headache, brain with the US and not just the Hamas story. Where is Hamas? Just a very small force, even Hamas. Also an Iranian agent. Iran is the problem. A problem that will plague the United States for years to come. And the question now. It is AI preparing for a bigger war. The United States is mobilizing forces and is ready to continue. Is tightening its alliance with Qatar and Saudi Arabia, Israel. Prepared to withdraw from Gaza. So all of them. Those arrows are all pointing to Iran. And it is setting a scene. Very different for the Middle East when a war, this ends, another war will open, That is why we say the Middle East will never be free of war. Is like that, but we still have to wait and see that politicians will behave like that. Here comes the program. Today's military piece also please. Paused, please share. Share your personal opinion. At the bottom of Lamin, hello, and see you again.